Conditional rendering in React. Conditional rendering is the process of displaying different content based on certain conditions or states. It allows you to create dynamic user interfaces that can adapt to changes in data and user interactions. There are several ways to implement conditional rendering in React, including using if-else statements, using the ternary operator, using logical operators, using state and props. Using if-else statements is the most basic way to implement conditional rendering. The following code shows an example of using if-else statements for conditional rendering. JavaScript. Function myComponent is logged in. If is logged in. Return div welcome user /div. Else. Return div please log in to continue /div. The ternary operator is a shorthand way of writing an if-else statement. The following code shows an example of using the ternary operator for conditional rendering. JavaScript. Function myComponent is logged in. Return is logged in. Div welcome user /div null. Logical operators can also be used for conditional rendering. The following code shows an example of using logical operators for conditional rendering. JavaScript. Function myComponent is admin. Return div is admin and div welcome admin /div is admin and div welcome user /div. The most common way to implement conditional rendering in React is to use state and props. State is the internal data of a React component, and props are the data that is passed to a component from its parent component. You can use state and props to create dynamic conditions that determine what content is rendered. The following code shows an example of using state and props for conditional rendering. JavaScript. Class myComponent extends React component. Constructor props. Super props. This.state equals show content false. Render. Return div. This.state.show content and div content is visible /div. This.props.show button and end button toggle content /button /div. These are just a few examples of how to implement conditional rendering in React. Depending on your specific use case and coding preferences, you can choose the approach that fits best. I hope this helps.